Let's talk to Marilyn Hawes here, who's the Chief Executive of Freedom from Abuse. Marilyn, what do you make of this?
I agree with the parents. I agree with the mother. I was absolutely appalled, outraged and disgusted when I saw that his parole had been I know they haven't decided yet, but the fact that the parole has been agreed to be discussed. But in 2020, it was actually rejected. So are we to believe that in that time, he's had his mind sluiced out with the bleach or something, so he doesn't have these murky thoughts anymore? This is someone who severely damaged human being at 10 years old to do what he did. I'm wondering, I don't know, but I'm wondering if he was the person, his partner in crime never did anything else. What he did was bad enough. But,
was Venables the ringleader? Was he instigating all this kind of thing with Jimmy Bulger?
Was he the ringleader? Exactly, because when you look at the timeline, and if you do join up all the dots, he came out in 2001, okay, so he did the eight years. He then went back, re-offended 4 times, was returned to prison twice. In 2017, for the second time, he had child abuse images found. Off he goes for, 40 months. So that's 3 years and 4 months, which takes from 2017, if my maths is correct, up to 2020. And then his appeal was rejected, and it should still be rejected because he has
Marilyn,
any temptations inside.
Terry in Ramsbottom has been in touch, agreeing with every word you're saying here by the looks of things. When Venables was sent back to prison for violating the conditions of his parole, he should have been required to serve the rest of his life sentence.
Absolutely.
Now, under the current rules, the Justice Secretary Alex Chalk has the power to ask the parole board to reconsider its decision if it decides to release Venables. Apparently, it's got his close personal attention, and there are tougher measures going through Parliament at the moment as part of the Victims and Prisoners Bill, which would give ministers the right to veto release decisions for the most serious or repeat offenders. But I mean, to me, it's just so clear here. Rehabilitation is something I believe in if it's possible. But as Adam says on text, I believe in rehabilitation, but some people are just born evil. He is just an evil man.
No, you're not born evil. No one is born evil. What happens is those 2 boys had a very disturbed early years childhood. No one is born to abuse and behave in this way. Something went back very deep, very dangerous and dark and horrible in those early years that distorted their behaviour, distorted their thinking. I do not believe that he has been able to rethink and rejoin those neural pathways that have disjointed the landscape of the brain, that has made them behave in this vile, awful way. He has no temptation in prison, and every time he's come out, he's done it again.
Yeah.
And if they do make this awful decision, which I pray they don't, there has to be absolute transparency, because it wouldn't be the first time the parole board have got it wrong. They let Colin Pitchfork out, and just before he came out, I was on a media show saying, I bet you anything he's back inside by Christmas. And he was.
John Warboys, the black cab rapist, they were seen as far
John
too...
Warboys as well.
Yeah.
These people, I think, I agree, I believe in rehabilitation if it is possible, but you don't know anybody. And he, I suspect, is devious. He'll be very good at blagging. He knows what these people want to hear. He's a deeply disturbed man. I could weep for the father of Jamie, the mother of Jamie, for Denise. I think it's shocking, and they don't seem to think about the re-traumatization of the mother.
Well, every time she sees us, even every time she sees us in the paper, every time she lifts it up, and even if she's watching, we're discussing this, that will be re-traumatizing her, because this just says, she'll be living with it every day. It'll never go away. It's such a famous case that people keep talking about it, and it could go away if Venables was still in prison.
But absolutely right, because now, if he'd done this in the last 2 years, he would be serving a lifelong sentence, because the law has changed. If you now kill children, I think it was since 2022 or something?
I think you're right,
You will now do a life sentence, and it will mean life. And that, there it is, sat there, a perfect example of, had that been now, he would not be coming out. And I have written to Alex Chalk. I think he should be listened to, because you don't know people. And as I say, the parole board have got it wrong before. I remember when this happened, and my children were young, but not as young as that. I held on to them like for dear life. I cried. Some things never leave your brain. Yeah. And at that time,
Marilyn, I was 9 when it happened. I just remember. Thanks for your thoughts there, Marilyn Hawes.